All right. So, to start off, do you have like a name or a screen name that you want to go by for the sake of this interview or anything like that, or do you just want to be
Just call me
anonymous?
Koto.
Okay, Koto. All right. Uh,
Yeah, that's fine.
so how old are you? First of all,
I'm 31.
31. Okay. So, how long have you been in the furry community?
It's kind of hard to say. I started in 2003 when I was in high school. Then I took a
Mm-hmm.
major break for about 10 years after I graduated. I'm just now recently getting back into it.
Okay, that sounds pretty good. That sounds pretty good. So, this is a question from a subscriber. What is like the? Do you have what is the strict definition of a furry? Some people just like the porn. Some people make fursonas, fursuits. But what, if anything, separates a furry from someone who just occasionally does this or that thing that furries also do?
Well, there is no definitive definition of a furry. That's the biggest misconception I think that people have. And
Hmm.
there's like layers. It's like autism. It's on a spectrum.
I see. I see.
um, So I don't really know if there is a separation. You can be a little bit furry or a whole lot furry. Some people, like you said, just like the porn. Other people like the creativity. Like myself, I do a lot of writing, and I
Oh,
just like anthropomorphic characters because I think they're more interesting than humans.
I see. That's interesting. I like to write too. Yeah. Anyway, uh, so how did you get into the furry community?
Well, I had just moved from Colorado to Massachusetts, and there was literally nobody at my school who would talk to me because I was the weird, awkward redneck kid.
I see.
And it was just about the time that the internet was starting to take off, so
Hmm.
I ended up getting online, writing with a couple of people, and just kind of getting into it. I wouldn't have considered myself a furry back then,
Uh huh.
but uh, I definitely probably.
Hello. Could you repeat yourself? Yeah, you said you
Yeah, can you hear me?
definitely, probably, and then it went out from there.
Oh, well, I was definitely probably considered a furry back then.
Okay. All right. So, how did you get back into the furry community? You said recently you've been kind of getting back into it. So, how did that happen?
Well, so after I graduated high school, I basically got in a heavy metal band
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's
and
interesting.
went on tours and stuff. So I ended up going on tours and getting into the crazy party lifestyle,
Mm-hmm.
and just touring around. It kind of fell by the wayside because I was just too busy, playing shows and driving all over the country to really think about it. And also, I was pretty big into substances. I mean, that just comes with the lifestyle.
Uh huh.
But when I came back, my father passed away, and I got
Oh.
sober. And when I got sober, I don't really know what happened, but it just all kind of came back. I started writing again. I started making characters again, and it just kind of came back like that.
Hmm.
Hard to explain, really.
Yeah. That sounds. That sounds very interesting. Like, it sounds like quite a. I don't know, quite a journey or whatever.
I've had a pretty crazy life, man.
Yeah. So, what do you think is the majority's public perception on furries?
Oh well, I would say it's definitely changed from 2003. I think they're a little more accepted nowadays, but I generally think that a lot of people still think that it's some weird fetish thing, or a bunch of strange high school kids who don't have any friends, which is definitely not the case if you go to cons or anything.
I see. I see. But you do think there are like some people, or how big of a percent do you think it is of people who are just high schoolers with no friends, or even middle schoolers with no friends?
I mean, I would put it in the double digits, like as far as like 20, 30%. But the thing that you got to remember is that they're not going to be high schoolers or middle schoolers with no friends forever.
I
This
see.
this might just be something to help them cope with, the awkwardness. I mean, everybody was awkward in middle school, man.
Yeah, definitely,
It's
definitely.
just how you were awkward, and some
Hmm.
people
Yeah,
decided to be furry.
I see. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay. How involved are you in the furry community? You kind of answered this sort of indirectly before, but yeah, you have like a full explanation.
a full explanation of. Do you want me to continue on that question?
Or a full explanation of like how involved you are and what kind of things you do in the
Oh,
community.
currently I wouldn't say that I'm like the most involved person. I
Yes.
just this time when I started getting back into it, since I have money and a car and
Mhm.
stuff, I've been able to go to cons and things like that. I don't have a suit or anything,
Mhm.
but I meet up. I do the local stuff. I try to go to furry cons, and I'd say like locally, I'm pretty involved with some stuff.
I
Um,
see.
but I wouldn't call myself like a community leader or, you know, popufur, which is a term that I absolutely hate.
Poppy fur? Is that
Yeah,
just
that's
popular furry?
exactly.
Okay.
It's very cringy.
I see. But anyway, so question for from a subscriber: what is your personal perception of the furry fandom?
Honestly, I see it. It's hard for me to say since I'm on the inside of it, but I
Mm-hmm.
see it as a pretty warm and welcoming place. Although that there is pockets of pretty bad stuff that happen. It's just the same with the metalhead community,
Mm-hmm.
the rap community.
Oh,
It's
definitely
like
with the rap community.
any other subculture.
Yeah. That,
And what you got to do is you got to find your group of people, and you got to stick with them, and you got to decide what you want out of it. Really, that's what it is. What you want out of it, not what the fandom wants out of you.
I see. I see. So, I've been kind of lurking and occasionally posting in the Reddit furry community, in the Reddit furry Discord. It seems like they're very apprehensive towards not safe for work content. Uh,
Oh well, that's just the server that you're on.
mhm. Why do you think they are like that? Do you know?
So here's the reason why. It's because furry porn
Mm.
kind of is all over the place. I'm not going to try and hide the fact that it exists.
Yeah,
The safe for work r/furry community. The reason why they keep it safe for work is because it's kind of a respite from that.
I see.
Sometimes you just want to have a conversation that doesn't involve big old dog dicks or whatever. You
Hmm.
just want to talk about your skills or just hang out with some people without having that stipulation of the not safe for work part. That's honestly the reason why I kind of like it. I mean, I
Yeah,
enjoy that part of the fandom, but it's nice to get away from it too.
I see. I see. So, hold on. Next question. How has the furry community evolved and changed over the years?
Well, that one I could definitely help out with a little bit. I remember back in the day, it was a very much a smaller community and a
Hmm.
lot more tight knit. Um, Back in like 2003, it was a lot more private and I would say a little bit wary of the outside world because
Hmm.
back then people didn't understand as much and they just thought that everybody who does that kind of stuff just wants to screw animals and one of my favorite Christian ones is that we're rejecting our humanity and we'd like to live as beasts. So there was a lot of stuff going on like that. I got my ass kicked in high school when somebody found out about it. So
Oh, that sounds bad.
it was a
Yeah.
lot. It was um, a lot more niche, a lot more underground. But as the whole pride thing comes up and the gay pride stuff starts to mull over, people have been getting more and more outgoing about it, which I think is great.
Hmm.
But I wouldn't say that it's directly correlated to gay pride, but there's obviously a whole lot of gay furries. So the
Yeah.
fact that the gay community is feeling more outward about it, I think that it's helping the furry community to come out as well.
I see. I see. I think it's kind of interesting because like the way because like the way people kind of are becoming less scared of it, and because like but there's still like there's still like a sort of a resistance. There's still a lot of people going against the idea of being a furry, but I feel like those people who are against being who are so against the furry community is they don't see like how multifaceted it can be, and that's kind of what I've seen from like being in these servers. Like there's a lot more different dimensions. There's a lot more different dimensions than what I initially thought.
You cut out for most of that.
Oh yeah, sorry, but basically what I was saying is that there's a lot more different dimensions than what I thought than what I originally thought. I thought like it was maybe people who want to people who want to see the cat titties or and then occasionally people who want to see the cat titties so much they want to make costumes of cat titties, but it's a lot more than just that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna knock you for thinking that. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, you're doing your research on it, which is more than 99% of people would do.
Hmm.
Um, and honestly, at this point, I'm such an old furry that it doesn't really phase me that much. I mean, to me, it's like think what you want to think.
Hmm.
We're gonna do our thing. We're gonna be over here doing our thing. Um, but yeah, it's very much multifaceted, and
Hmm.
it caters to a lot of people, and those people end up being content creators and making it branch out even more. There are people that I know that just like the idea of having a little cartoon character and an avatar themselves,
Hmm.
and that's as far as they go. Like they don't go to the meets, they don't want to be on the servers. They
I
just
see.
think like, what if I was a fox? Oh, that's kind of cool.
Hmm.
So you can be as uninvolved as that, or you can be the person putting on these giant multi-thousand people events.
Yeah,
It's all how much you want to put into it.
I see. That's interesting. That's really cool. Uh, so, how can the community evolve further and become even better?
Huh. Well, from what I see, it's just kind of like a trickle kind
Hmm.
of thing. Like you do something here and there. A lot of these fur cons, what they do is to keep it charitable. All of the money that's collected, we donate to causes like big dog animal sanctuaries, big cat animal sanctuaries.
Oh.
It's not like we're just static and trying to keep it to ourselves.
Hmm.
Uh, I think currently we're on the right path. There's always going to be those underliers that give furries a bad name because there's always a vocal minority.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same with like conservatives right now. Like there's a whole lot of moderate conservatives that aren't saying anything, and you let everybody else talk for you.
Yeah, and there's a whole lot
But
of yeah.
sorry, what?
Oh, and then there's like a whole lot of more radical conservatives who want to literally lynch black people, and that's fucked up.
And they're the ones that have the megaphone right now.
Right.
So that's kind of my point is that a lot of people just look at that vocal minority of furries and they just get this big thing about how, we must be degenerates of some sort and
Hmm.
just have some sort of sexual perversion. But really, it's hard to describe. What I would say, as far as getting better as a community goes, is just keep on with our community outreach. Uh, maybe on our side, we should understand that to some people we're just eternally going to be awkward, and it's not worth trying to change minds if they don't want to be changed.
Yeah.
And just kind of do our own thing, keep doing our charities, keep everything just rolling. Just do what we want to do. It's hard to put it this way, but we kind of got to think of ourselves so that we can help other people
I see. Yeah.
instead of trying to please everybody at once.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So, uh, this one time I tried to share a form to a few furries asking a bunch of questions about like the furry experience or whatever, and the last question was about whether they considered themselves a degenerate and like why or why not. And so like a lot of them said yes. I only got about 28 questions, 28 people. I only got about 28 answers, but about like 24 or no, it was yeah, I think it was a pretty big number. A lot of them said yes, and they had like these different explanations for why they said yes, and then a lot of them had like these different explanations for why they said no. And so, why do you think some furries might consider themselves to be degenerates?
I will tell you the truth. I think that honestly they're joking around with you.
I
Let's
see.
look up the definition of degenerate here. It's kind of like saying you're. I guess what they're trying to say is when they put it down as degenerate, I don't think that they're using that definition.
Okay.
I think what they're trying to say is that they're kind of using it like how they're taking an insult and making it into a point of pride.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. I see.
So they say that they're degenerate because yes, they're different. They would be perceived to the quote unquote normal outside world as degenerate because they have some sort of physical, mental, or moral qualities that are not normal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe they have a problem with their appearance. They don't think they. There's a lot of autistic furries out there too.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they're just taking that and rolling with it. When I call myself a degenerate, which doesn't happen very often, ironically, in a sense of just like, oh yeah, you got me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when somebody's trying to press me on things, but really, I think it's because they're just joking around.
I see.
Usually, the people who answer no are the ones that kind of get offended at everything. No offense to them.
Mm-hmm. Uh, okay, so kind of the last question, or maybe second to last question, I don't know. But what do you think makes a person a degenerate?
Huh, that's an interesting one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't, I don't actually know if I know how to answer that one.
I see.
I think that it comes with a bit of self-awareness as to your own perceived shortcomings or abnormalities.
Mm-hmm.
So I honestly don't know if I could consider. Yeah, this is a tough one, man. Um, Really, I would say that if we're going to go into the literal definition of degeneracy, I usually think of it on a mental plane,
Mm-hmm.
where you know morally by societal standards that something is wrong and you decide to do it anyways. Like say neo-Nazis, stuff like that. Maybe you were brainwashed into thinking that, but I personally consider people like that degenerates because they are literally going against the furtherment of humanity and they want to
Mm-hmm.
get stuck in the past. Um, as far as furries go, I don't see any of that happening. Everybody wants to move forward. We just want to, even we want to further humanity, even if we want to do it in animal costumes.
Further humanity.
You
Yeah.
did it. You said the thing.
Yeah. All right. So, yeah, that's an interesting question. So, yeah, you think the line is kind of where their intent isn't to bring humanity forward.
Yeah, and just remember that I'm a weird individual case, and
Mm-hmm.
that it's just my own personal thoughts. It probably doesn't reflect reality for most people.
I see. But yeah, I think that's kind of all the questions I had today. Thank you for uh, thank you for answering all the questions, and thank you for being positive about this whole thing. And yeah, I think these will really help with my video, and I'll be sure
Awesome.
to link it to you when I'm finished with it. And yeah, I just hope you have a good day or rest of the day or whatever. All right.
Sure, man. Yeah, it was great. It was my pleasure.
All right. See ya.